Under a luminous crescent moon that hung like a whispered secret over New York City, the night unfurled its mysteries with an almost sentient intent. Along a lively street corner, where the clamor of car horns and hurried footsteps blended with murmurs of unseen stories, Mara's small booth shone like a solitary beacon, draped in layers of deep violet velvet and accented by shimmering, time-worn draperies. The booth seemed a sanctuary suspended between worlds, a place where everyday life met the ethereal realm of destiny. Mara herself was an enigma, a woman whose penetrating eyes held a quiet depth that suggested centuries of lived truths. Her fingers, delicate yet steady, arranged an array of relics on a scarred wooden table. A silver key intricately wrought, a fragment of a mirror long shattered, and a crescent pendant that glimmered with a mysterious inner light. As she gently smoothed out a worn tapestry of cryptic symbols, she murmured softly, "The past speaks in whispers, and the future listens with secrets." Her words, a blend of incantation and intimate confession, hinted at a legacy that was as old as time. That particular evening, as a modest crowd gathered, Mara's booth became a stage for both hopeful seekers and the quietly skeptical. A man in a threadbare suit, his eyes searching for a glimmer of hope, asked, "What fate does the night hold for me?" Meanwhile, a young woman, clutching a faded photograph of a lost love, listened intently as Mara's voice danced between prophecy and poetic ambiguity. Each reading was designed to leave just enough mystery, each word carefully chosen to ignite a spark of wonder in every heart. Yet, amid the routine flow of fortunes, Mara's thoughts kept returning to a recurring vision, a striking image of a well-dressed stranger whose presence felt both familiar and unearthly. In her dreams, this stranger's eyes shimmered like distant constellations, and his figure was forever etched against backdrops of both opulent wealth and enigmatic shadow. On that night, as the moon carved its silent path across the sky, Mara caught a glimpse of a reflection in a broken shard of mirror, a reflection that seemed to mirror the image of this mysterious stranger. It was a subtle, almost imperceptible clue, one that she tucked away in the recesses of her mind. Unbeknownst to most, Mara was not the only one who sensed that the night harbored more than mere chance encounters. In the dim periphery of her booth, a mysterious figure in a dark overcoat lingered, a man whose presence was as fleeting as it was deliberate. His eyes, shadowed beneath the brim of a hat, scanned the crowd with an unreadable intensity. Leaning close to a curious onlooker, he murmured almost inaudibly, "The wind carries secrets, and every heart bears its own key." His words, enigmatic and laden with forewarning, were quickly absorbed into the urban tapestry as nothing more than an odd remark. Yet for Mara, they resonated deeply, reinforcing the notion that fate was orchestrating events beyond the visible surface. While Mara's booth stood as an oasis of mysticism amidst the city's frenetic energy, not far away, the polished corridors of Manhattan's corporate towers narrated an entirely different tale. In one such gleaming high-rise, Alexander Hayes, the consummate businessman, was ensnared in a world of ceaseless meetings and calculated strategies. His life, marked by pristine suits and the relentless pursuit of efficiency, was a stark contrast to the messy, unpredictable nature of destiny that Mara embodied. Despite his outward poise, Alexander's eyes betrayed a hidden restlessness, a yearning for something more than numbers and contracts could ever offer. Late that very evening, after a day filled with boardroom battles and the sterile comfort of high finance, Alexander felt an inexplicable pull toward the city's less polished corners. Drawn by an inner magnetism he scarcely understood, he found himself meandering through winding streets until he stood before Mara's modest booth. The flickering neon signs and the cool night air seemed to blur the boundaries between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Stepping into the circle of soft light cast by Mara's table, Alexander's gaze locked with hers. "I've seen you before," Mara stated with a knowing smile, her tone imbued with both playful mischief and an undercurrent of profound truth. Her words, as gentle as a caress yet as firm as destiny's decree, sent a tremor through him. "Do I know you?" he asked, his voice steady despite the swirling confusion inside him. It was the voice of a man who had long relied on the certainty of logic, now challenged by the unpredictable allure of fate. In Mara's eyes, he saw not just a fortune teller, but a keeper of secrets, a guardian of dreams and destinies. "Perhaps not in the way you expect," Mara replied, her fingers brushing lightly over the relics arranged before her. "Fate has a curious habit of reuniting souls who once danced on the edges of time." As she spoke, Her eyes momentarily shifted to the fragment of mirror on the table, a mirror that now shimmered with a mysterious reflection, as if echoing the whispered promise of long-forgotten truths. The street buzzed with the usual nocturnal symphony, distant laughter, the hum of traffic, and the steady pulse of city life. Yet, in that singular moment, the space between Mara and Alexander vibrated with a silent intensity. Every subtle gesture, every nuanced look, seemed charged with the possibility that their meeting was not mere chance, but a carefully orchestrated step in an unfolding destiny. As Mara continued to offer her readings to the assembled crowd, small details began to weave a tapestry of foreshadowed events. To one patron seeking solace for lost love, she mentioned keys that unlock hidden legacies. To another, questioning the true cost of wealth, she murmured of destinies sealed by ancient vows. These cryptic statements, which might have passed as whimsical musings on an ordinary night, now took on a deeper significance, a promise that every object, every word, was a clue in a grander design. When the night eventually surrendered to the approaching dawn, the crowd gradually dispersed, leaving Mara alone with her lingering thoughts and the quiet echoes of her prophecies. She collected her relics with deliberate care, her mind adrift in the swirling currents of destiny. The recurring vision of the mysterious stranger, now undeniably intertwined with the symbols she cherished, promised that the night's secrets were far from exhausted. And as she locked her booth, the faint echo of the mysterious figure's earlier words lingered in the cool air, reinforcing the sense that destiny was writing a story where every heart held a piece of the key. The next day, as the city stirred awake with its usual cacophony of honking horns, bustling subways, and whispered ambitions over morning coffee, an undercurrent of anticipation lingered in the air. For those who had brushed against the magic of the previous night, the world seemed inexplicably altered. Alexander, still haunted by the memory of Mara's enigmatic greeting and the resonance of her mysterious relics, could not shake the feeling that his path was about to veer into uncharted territories. Later that afternoon, Alexander found himself attending an opulent charity gala, a glittering affair set within the hallowed walls of one of Manhattan's historic mansions. The event, a celebration of refined elegance and old money, was a stark contrast to the gritty, evocative world of Mara's booth. As glittering chandeliers bathed the grand hall in a soft, golden glow, the air was thick with the murmurs of high society. Yet, amid this dazzling display of wealth and tradition, Alexander's thoughts remained tethered to the night's mysterious allure. It was at the gala that destiny chose to intertwine his fate once again. Amid a sea of meticulously dressed socialites, Alexander's gaze fell upon a woman who exuded an air of quiet defiance and poignant mystery. Isabella, as he would soon learn, carried herself with a graceful intensity that both captivated and challenged the rigid expectations of the elite. Her eyes, dark and searching, seemed to hold a secret that resonated with the echoes of his own inner turmoil. Unable to resist the magnetic pull of shared mystery, Alexander approached her. "I couldn't help but notice," he began with his characteristically measured tone, "that you seem as at home in this gilded cage as one might be in a gilded prison." His words, laced with a mix of wit and vulnerability, were met with a slight, knowing smile. "Perhaps it is not the splendor of our surroundings that confines us," Isabella replied, her voice soft yet insistent, "but the invisible chains of expectation that we have allowed to define us." Her eyes sparkled with the fire of quiet rebellion, and in that moment, the distance between their disparate worlds began to dissolve. They drifted toward a quieter alcove away from the prying eyes of the gala's most ostentatious figures. Here, the elegant hum of refined conversation faded into an intimate cadence, allowing their dialogue to blossom with candor and mutual understanding. As they conversed, Isabella revealed snippets of her life, stories of longing, of silent battles against a world obsessed with appearances, and of dreams that defied the conventional boundaries of her society. "Sometimes," Alexander confessed, his voice dropping to a thoughtful murmur, "I feel that my life has been a series of carefully constructed facades, a perfect suit hiding a turbulent soul." His admission, both raw and resonant, seemed to echo the very essence of the strange allure that had drawn him to Mara's mystical world. Isabella's gaze softened. "I too have worn masks that conceal my truest self," she whispered. "Yet there is beauty in the unveiling, a chance to rewrite the narratives imposed upon us by society and fate." As the conversation deepened, the faint echoes of earlier events wove themselves into their dialogue. Alexander recalled Mara's haunting words from the night before, There was something in her voice, a promise that our destinies are not random. It felt as if every symbol she mentioned was a deliberate thread in a tapestry of secrets. Isabella nodded, her eyes reflecting both wonder and understanding. I have often sensed that our lives are preordained by forces beyond the mundane. Perhaps our meeting here is not mere chance, but the first note of a grand symphony yet to be revealed. Meanwhile, back on the familiar street where Mara's booth once stood, the enigmatic fortune teller continued her work with unwavering dedication. In the quiet moments between clients, she rearranged her cherished relics with a newfound precision. The silver key, the broken mirror, and the crescent pendant were now arranged as if forming a silent equation, a puzzle awaiting its final piece. And in the shadow of her booth, the mysterious figure in the dark overcoat made another brief appearance. This time, his presence was accompanied by a deliberate, almost ritualistic pause as he observed the interplay of fate unfolding before him. Leaning toward a young passerby, he murmured, "Every meeting is a step toward an inevitable truth, hidden in plain sight." Though his words dissipated into the night, they served as a spectral reminder that nothing was as accidental as it seemed. As the gala drew on, the mingling of the elite began to blur with undercurrents of destiny. Isabella and Alexander's discussion evolved into a shared exploration of hidden truths, a dialogue that transcended superficial charm and delved into the realms of fate, legacy, and the mystical. Outside, the city's lights pulsed like the heartbeat of a living myth, and within the grand hall, the two kindred spirits found solace in the idea that perhaps their paths were not entirely self-determined. After the formalities of the evening subsided, Alexander stepped out onto the mansion's marble steps, the cool night air mingling with his swirling thoughts. The distant hum of the city and the gentle rustle of leaves underfoot seemed to murmur secrets of a destiny yet unraveled. He recalled Mara's prophetic gaze and the subtle symbolism of the relics, each a harbinger of a truth waiting to be discovered. In that reflective solitude, his resolve strengthened. The puzzle of his existence was beginning to take shape. Isabella, too, felt the stirring of a transformation. As she lingered near a softly lit window, she allowed herself a moment of quiet introspection. The gala's glitter might have masked many truths, but her heart was open to the possibility that beneath the veneer of wealth lay a deeper magic, one that could bridge the gap between her world and the unseen forces that bound them all. In the final moments before the night surrendered to dawn, the subtle interplay of fate was unmistakable. Two souls, from worlds seemingly apart, had begun to discover the profound connections woven into the fabric of their lives. And as the city whispered its age-old lullabies, the seeds of destiny were sown, promising that the winds of fate would soon carry them toward revelations that would forever alter the course of their intertwined journeys. Rain slicked the streets that evening, each droplet echoing the murmurs of secrets long hidden beneath the city's glimmer. In the quiet solitude of his penthouse, Alexander sat at a heavy oak desk, the only light coming from a solitary lamp that threw soft shadows across rows of dusty ledgers and family mementos. There, tucked away in a forgotten drawer, he uncovered a weathered leather-bound journal. Its cover bore symbols: an intricately carved silver key, a crescent moon, and the shards of a broken mirror, echoes of the mysterious relics Mara had so deliberately arranged the night he met her. Alexander's hands trembled as he opened the journal, its yellowed pages inscribed with looping, cryptic annotations. The entries spoke of an ancient covenant, a legacy entwined with destiny, wealth, and a power that defied the mundane. One passage, penned in an elegant yet urgent hand, read, "When the key of fate finds its counterpart in the soul of prophecy, the mirror of truth shall shatter the illusions of wealth and reveal a heritage born on the winds of destiny." The words resonated with every secret Mara had hinted at. That very night, unable to contain the torrent of emotions, Alexander summoned Isabella. In the hushed intimacy of his study, with the steady patter of rain as their only audience, he spoke with a voice that betrayed both awe and fear. "Isabella," he began, his tone low and fervent, "I've discovered something about my past, something that redefines everything I thought I knew about my family." He carefully passed the journal across to her, its pages alive with the symbols that had haunted Mara's prophecies. Isabella's eyes widened as she scanned the journal, her thoughts swirling with memories of the words Mara had spoken the night before. "These symbols, they aren't mere decoration. They are the very keys to unlocking a secret legacy," she murmured, her voice tinged with both wonder and trepidation. "I've always felt that there was more beneath the veneer of our worlds, more than the glitter of wealth and the rigid confines of high society." Their conversation was interrupted by a faint, persistent knock at the door. When Alexander opened it, a familiar yet enigmatic figure stood on the threshold. A man in a dark overcoat, whose presence Alexander had noticed in passing outside Mara's booth. The mysterious stranger's eyes, shadowed beneath the brim of his hat, held a quiet urgency. "Forgive the intrusion," he said softly, his voice carrying the weight of distant knowledge. "But fate has a way of guiding us when we most need direction." Before either could press him for more, the figure vanished into the rain, leaving behind an unspoken promise that the threads of destiny were converging. That encounter deepened the mystery, and the following day Alexander returned to Mara's modest booth. The morning light revealed her in quiet contemplation, arranging her relics with renewed purpose. "Mara," he said gently, "I found this journal and its words. They mirror the visions I've had, and the symbols you always emphasize." Mara's eyes softened as she regarded him, the secrets of her lineage reflected in their depths. "Alexander," she replied, her tone a mixture of relief and gravity, "the truth you seek has been whispered in every clue. Our destinies have been intertwined by an ancient pact, a covenant forged long ago between two worlds. My gift, these visions, is not an isolated phenomenon. They are the legacy of a lineage that has long danced with the forces of fate." She reached out and lightly touched the silver key displayed on the table. "And your family, with all its wealth and influence, has safeguarded that very power in silence. Your fortune is not just monetary, it is the manifestation of an enduring mystical heritage." Isabella, who had quietly joined them, stepped forward. "So it was never coincidence," she said, her voice soft yet resolute. "Every chance encounter, every symbol, the key, the mirror, the crescent, were breadcrumbs leading us to this convergence of magic and legacy." In that intimate circle, the journal's revelations recontextualized every moment from the past. Alexander recalled Mara's enigmatic greeting, the way the broken mirror had reflected a mysterious stranger's image, a reflection he now recognized as a foretaste of his own hidden truth. Mara continued, "The ancient covenant decreed that when the one who sees the future meets the keeper of secret legacies, the illusions of social boundaries will shatter, revealing a deeper unity. Our meeting was orchestrated by destiny itself. The weight of the revelation settled upon them like a soft shroud. The rain outside eased into a gentle drizzle, as if nature herself was acknowledging the transformation underway." Alexander's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "I spent years believing my life was dictated by numbers and contracts," he confessed. "But now I see that every decision, every encounter, was a part of a tapestry woven by a power I had long denied." Mara's voice, both tender and commanding, resonated with quiet certainty. "Embracing this truth means accepting both a gift and a burden. Our love, and the unity we form, must challenge the very structures that have divided us for so long, both in terms of wealth and spirit." As the three stood in the dim light of that transformative moment, the mysteries of their past and the promise of their intertwined futures shimmered in the air, a delicate balance of hope, truth, and the inevitable force of destiny. In the weeks that followed that fateful night, New York City seemed to pulse with an altered heartbeat, a secret rhythm known only to those who had glimpsed the truth behind its glittering facade. The revelation had not only transformed Alexander and Isabella, but had also ignited a quiet revolution in the way they saw their worlds. As autumn painted the city in hues of gold and amber, the trio embarked on a journey to redefine the very nature of wealth and destiny. Alexander began to reintegrate the revelations of the journal into his daily life. At family gatherings and business meetings, he shared carefully selected fragments of the mystical heritage he had discovered. "We are more than custodians of financial wealth," he declared during an intimate dinner with his relatives. "We are stewards of an ancient legacy, a legacy that calls upon us to harness the power of destiny for the betterment of all." His words stirred curiosity and apprehension among his kin, yet his unwavering conviction slowly began to erode the rigid constructs of old money that had long dictated their lives. Isabella, once a reluctant participant in the glittering masquerade of high society, now embraced her dual identity with renewed fervor. In private moments over midnight coffees at quaint bistros and in whispered conversations during exclusive soirees, she explored the delicate interplay between her refined upbringing and the raw, unspoken truths of her soul. "I used to feel trapped in a world of polished facades," she confided to Alexander one cool evening. "But now I see that these facades are merely invitations to discover the deeper magic beneath. We can choose to be both elegant and authentically wild." Her transformation was palpable, a gentle rebellion against the confines of expectation, a promise of a life reimagined. Mara, ever the guardian of fate's mysteries, continued her work with quiet determination. Her modest booth, now renowned among both the common folk and the discerning elite, became a haven for those seeking answers beyond the material realm. With each reading, she artfully wove together the strands of prophecy and personal truth, often reminding her visitors, every symbol holds a secret, every relic a memory of a time when love and destiny were one. In one particularly poignant moment, as she adjusted the arrangement of her treasured relics, she paused at the sight of the silver key. Its reflective surface, once a mere trinket, now shone with the promise of unity, a beacon for hearts ready to break free from the chains of convention. Even the mysterious figure, whose cryptic presence had punctuated their earlier encounters, reappeared in subtle yet significant ways. At a private gathering held in a restored brownstone, a guest recounted an encounter with a man in a dark overcoat who had whispered, "Every heart bears a secret key to its destiny." The mention of his words sparked quiet conversations among the guests, conversations that, in hindsight, revealed his role as a silent messenger of fate. Though his identity remained shrouded, his recurring appearances lent an added layer of mystery that bound the trio's story to a larger, almost cosmic design. Together, Alexander, Isabella, and Mara initiated gatherings that blurred the lines between the affluent and the unassuming. In eclectic venues, ranging from hidden rooftop gardens to the intimate warmth of restored historic mansions, they invited a mosaic of souls to celebrate their shared heritage. These gatherings became a living testament to the new understanding that true wealth was measured not in material possessions, but in the richness of connection and the courage to embrace one's destiny. One brisk autumn evening, under a canopy of twinkling fairy lights in a secluded courtyard, the trio convened for what they declared would be a turning point, a final conversation to chart the course of their new journey. Alexander, his voice imbued with the quiet strength of renewed purpose, addressed the assembly. "We stand at the crossroads of the old and the new," he proclaimed, "where the legacies of our past no longer bind us, but inspire us to create a future defined by unity, love, and authentic power." Isabella, her eyes reflecting both the gentle glow of lanterns and the fierce determination within, added, "Our journey has shown us that every hardship and every hidden secret was a stepping stone, guiding us toward a destiny where our differences merge into a single, harmonious truth." Her words, tender yet defiant, resonated with the assembled guests. Mara, ever the wise oracle, concluded, "The magic we inherit is not confined to relics or ancient texts. It lives in every act of courage, every moment of vulnerability, and every choice to embrace our true selves." Today, we honor not only the legacy of our forebears, but the promise of a future where love transforms every barrier into a bridge. As the night deepened, the assembled souls mingled in quiet celebration, the murmurs of heartfelt conversations mingling with the soft rustle of autumn leaves. In that moment, the boundaries between wealth and wonder, between social class and spiritual truth, dissolved into a tapestry of shared humanity. Alexander, Isabella, and Mara, bound by their rediscovered destiny, had forged a path that honored both the mystic past and the transformative promise of the future. Standing together beneath the vast expanse of the starlit sky, their hearts beat as one, a symphony of hope, resilience, and an unwavering belief that destiny, when embraced, can reforge even the most fragmented lives into a masterpiece of love and legacy. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel. Your subscription will show that I'm on the right path to bring you the best videos ever. And if you enjoyed this video, check this one out too.